looking all around you now. Tell me, what do you see below?
See a very dark place. There's a hill surrounded by darkness. It's a very bare hill. There's a temple or staircase further up the hill that I passed on the way down.
As you look down at your feet, you're able to do this, looking down towards where your feet are. Can you see your feet?
Yes.
Do they look like your feet?
They look a little different. Bigger toes.
And what color are your feet?
They're just a skin color, average skin tone color.
How many toes have you got?
3.
3 toes.
3 or 4. 3 big ones, 1 little one.
Okay. So keep looking at yourself now, just following your feet and just coming up along your legs. Have you got legs? Can you see your legs?
Yes, I have legs.
Okay. Do they look like your legs?
A lot hairier than mine would be.
Would you say they're a man's legs?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so coming up along now, I want you to look at your hands. Find your hands there and just place them in front of you and look at your arms and your hands and describe to me what you see.
I see 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. Very thick, dense hands. Sort of brown fur covering them, the tops of them, and the outside of the forearms.
Okay. What color is the fur?
Brown, just a medium brown.
So would you say, do you have as much fur as you have skin, or is it both?
It's both. There are patches of where it's just mostly skin and others where it's mostly fur.
Okay, so I want you to keep feeling what you look like now and just feeling more into that. I want you to bring your attention now up to your face. You're able to see your face. And tell me now what your face looks like.
It looks somewhat ape-like, but not completely. It's the bigger jaw.
Do you recognize yourself? Or does he look completely different to Danny, human Danny?
This is very different. Very different to this Danny.
Okay. Have you got any clothes on you? Are you wearing anything?
No.
And do you have anything on you, like an object? Do you wear anything that would be an object, or do you hold anything?
I'm holding a stick.
Okay. Just a plain stick? What does it look like?
It's about the length of my forearm. It's pointy at one end and it curls in a loop on the other.
Okay, so a stick with a loop on the end. And how
Yeah.
do you carry this stick?
I'm just carrying it in my hand. Very casually, about midway up the stick.
And what do you think you might use this stick for?
Poking into holes. Scraping at things.
Does this stick have a consciousness within it? Just ask the stick if it has a consciousness.
Yes.
Has consciousness, okay. So before, we're going to try and maybe talk to this consciousness that's within the stick. But just before we do that, I want you to, again, focus your energy on this image that you see now of yourself, and just tell me, how do you feel? How are you feeling about being this particular being now that you are seeing in this place and time?
Very intrigued. Very intrigued about being this being. Curious, but neutral to the situation. Just curious.
Do you have a language that you speak as this particular being?
I'll communicate in grunts and hand gestures, body language.
Okay. And what about the voice?
It's kind of a deep voice. I don't use it much. Just to make little grunts.
Okay. Okay, so before we start exploring our surroundings, first we're going to maybe try to see if we can communicate now with the stick that's in your hand. So just looking at that stick there, because you feel that it has a consciousness. So would you just ask the stick now if the consciousness within it is able, or if it would like to communicate with us today?
Yes.
Lovely. We honor, love, and respect you. We thank you for this consciousness now that is stepping forward. And perhaps maybe there is something that you might be able to share with us today for Danny, for his higher self, a message or for some information. So greetings. Is there a name that we can call you by?
Fiona?
Fiona, beautiful. This is a female name. Can you tell me more about your name? The origins, perhaps.
Fiona is the name of the stick when it was cast. just suited the stick. It sings to this version of Danny, just sings to him.
So are you still present with Danny in this time of Danny's experience now? Are you saying that your energy is still with him?
Yes, to an extent.
Okay. And what is your job or your purpose that you serve for Danny in the lifetime that you are showing us now?
Just pointing in the right directions.
Is your, let's say, your owner, that Danny, does Danny own you in that lifetime?
Yes. It's
Okay.
yes.
And when you mentioned
a mutual coming together.
Did he find you, or how did you come into his possession?
I was dropped onto this world and he found me shortly after.
Can you tell us about where it is that you came from?
I came from the stars. Orion.
Okay, so you mentioned that you sing to Danny. Is this one form of communication with Danny?
Yes, it's pleasant for him, and he follows it with the sound and the singing. Kind of uses that as a guide.
Okay. A guide for what? Can you tell us more?
The closer he gets to where he needs to be, the singing will become louder and more present and clearer. Cool. Give him the confirmation that he's finding something.
Is that something, perhaps food, maybe, things that would be useful to his existence?
Yeah, he uses it for that. You could use it for more.
Okay, tell us about the more, what that could be.
Led him to the temple on the hill. Something he needs to look at.
Okay. Okay. And we're going to go to the temple now as well. So just going back, are you able to tell us more about your origin? You mentioned you're from Orion. Is there anything more you can share with us about that, your origin planet?
Yes, Orion has a planet called Rigel. It was impacted and affected A fragment of what is left.
Okay. How did you find your way to Danny after that impact?
Sheer intention.
Can you tell us more about your role upon the planet, Rigel?
It was a peaceful planet. I was
What happened with the impact? Do you know where that impact came from?
Ryan was I was shattered from my tree. Scattered.
Okay. And so you ended up then with Danny. Was Danny on a different planet completely to your planet?
He was there before. After it happened, he needed an organic piece to take with him to Earth.
Okay. And so you say that you are still with him, perhaps energetically, in this lifetime now with Danny, that he experiences in this particular timeline.
Yes,
How are you? Sorry.
In spirit, yes.
Okay. So yours is an energy that he may call upon, perhaps.
Yes. They need me.
Okay. And can you tell us more about how you would be able to direct him or help him in this particular lifetime, in some situations where he needs help?
Lining him up in particular directions. Singing to him. Ringing in his ears. It's not what he think it is.
Okay. So you can help him with direction as well. Maybe deciding which ways to go, perhaps.
Yes, if he listens.
Okay.
He needs guidance back.
Okay. Thank you very much for that information, for the messages that you've brought through today. At least we know now that there is a direction for him and that he can be guided on direction. So I think that's hopefully an important message for him. And we can help him perhaps with the other aspects that you mentioned as well. And we thank you very much for your presence and for trusting us in coming forward to deliver this message today. So we're going to leave you now and we're going to move on. We're going to continue on now in the scene. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Fiona. Okay, so Danny, looking around you now, you know that you've got something that's very special within your hand. You've got your stick that guides you. So we're going to walk through this scene now where you've landed on this particular planet. And I'm going to ask you to start walking because there is a temple that you mentioned in the distance, the one that you saw with the steps, the one that Fiona has also mentioned. She wants you to go to this temple.
Mm-hmm.
With the guidance of the higher self now, I want you to start walking to the temple and tell me when you get there.
I'm there at the foot of the steps.
Okay. So would you like to go up those steps now? Or do you want to take a pause? Do you want to look around you and tell me what you see around you before you go up the steps?
I will go up the steps.
Okay.
Lots of them.
And tell me what you see as you're going up those steps.
You see stone. It's all stone. Very smooth, grey stone. Almost like one solid piece. Lots of steps.
Okay. Keep going up those steps now. As you're looking up the steps, what are you getting closer to? What's up there?
There are little entryways. There's little stone.
Is there one particular doorway? Have you arrived at any one particular doorway or entrance now that you would like to enter?
Not yet. There are a few around I'm looking at. Some have moss growing around them. Some have carvings, patterns.
Do you recognize these patterns?
In this being's timeline, no, but Danny has seen them in a dream before.
Okay. Is there something special or important about these particular patterns?
Peruvian. We had been here before. And it was more alive.
So it looks Peruvian to you.
Yes, it's a quick way of describing it.
Okay. So are you continuing up, going up those steps now? Have you arrived at a doorway yet?
Yes, I'm at a doorway.
Okay. Okay, so when you're ready, enter that doorway.
Okay.
And go inside, and have a look around, and when you're ready, tell me what you see inside.
It's dark. It was once a throne room where a matriarch sat.
Can you see this matriarch? Do you know about her?
She's not there now, but Danny remembers.
Describe to me what you remember.
It used to be very golden, very, very decorated. Queen was upset or down. It was the end.
Do you know the end of what exactly? Are you able to tell me that?
It was during the end of that civilization. There was a collapse. Everything changed. And
The people that you see at the end of that civilization, you see the matriarch. Does she look like you? Or does she look anything like your being that you are?
no, she looks human.
So she doesn't have fur.
No.
Okay. And do you live in harmony or unity with this human race there?
Well, this was a memory of another lifetime coming back to this being. This was before his time, but he's remembering it.
What it was.
Yes.
Okay.
What it used to be before it was emptied.
Is there any memories coming back to you then of how the civilization ended?
Everyone was running, not in a particular direction. They just all rebelled. Like it was a sudden change in behavior.
Okay.
People started distrusting the matriarch and the feminine energy of the culture. Men ran rampant.
Okay. Does this matriarch have a name? Is that name coming to you, who she is?
I recognize her as Blue. I don't know what her name is in this memory.
Okay. So you're referring to Blue, who is your girlfriend, ex or friend from Danny's life.
Yes.
Okay.
Memories.
Okay, so within that memory, because it seems like you are feeling it and experiencing it quite strongly, I just wonder if you can walk up to the matriarch now, if you're able to walk towards her within that memory, and are you able to walk to her and look her in her eyes? Is that possible?
She has her head in her hands crying.
Okay.
But I try.
Okay. Try and do that and wait and see for her to look at you.
Okay.
She sees you now?
Yes.
Okay, so look her in the eyes now, making that connection, the soul connection into the eyes. Do you still recognize who the person is in those eyes there?
Yes.
Tell me, who is that you see?
That's blue.
Okay. So just continuing now to look her in the eye, as the soul is within the eyes. I'm just going to ask her now if there's something that's going to be very important and relevant for Danny to know today. Is there something that this matriarch, who is you recognize as blue, is there something she can tell us today for Danny?
It's unclear.
Is she able to see you?
Yes. She said yes, but I can't make out the message.
Okay. Does it sound like English?
Yeah,
So you can hear this language now. You're listening closely. She's going to speak much more clearly now. You can hear this language now much more clearly. What does the language sound like to you?
I can't recognize the language.
It's okay.
She says something. I'm feeling into it.
It's okay. Because whatever message that she's imparting to you now, even though it's in a different language, you're going to bring that message with you. And you're going to be able to understand that message, maybe not right now, maybe not today, or maybe not tomorrow, but that message is going to resonate with your mind and with your subconscious, and that message is going to come to you. It will unfold over the days and the weeks of your life, and you will come to know and understand what that message is.
This is where Lemuria fell. Everything changed. She loved that existence so much, and then it all changed.
Yes. So we're on the earth then. Does it feel like we're on the earth? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this person, this matriarch that you're looking at, that you recognize as blue, does she have a name? What can she tell you her Lemurian name?
Sounds like A.U.R.A, A.U.R.A, something like that.
Okay. That sounds beautiful.
I recognize the being that I was when I walked up the steps. It was my troll existence, which was kind of between dimensions and timelines. She always liked the troll.
This particular matriarch, is it?
Yes.
So are you traveling between times as this troll, or do you actually live in this particular place that you've shown us?
Between times as the troll is, time is as simple as a direction, as a depth, as a troll.
Okay, so that's interesting. Connections between time and direction and different timelines. Do you move around to different places or different planets then quite easily?
This is an earthly existence.
Do you like being a troll?
Yes, it's simple existence. One of humble curiosity.
Do you live long as a troll? What's your lifespan?
Yes, true, that's 300 years, but outside of time can be many. It's not so linear.
So would you ever experience what we consider death as the human experience of death?
Yes, but it's a lot more peaceful. It's more a transition than a recognizable death.
Okay. And tell me about other magical powers, skills, or abilities that you also have as a troll.
We can smell things from far away. We can see things. Very simple.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that information. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move this scene along now, and we're going to just look at this matriarch, or Blue, as we recognize her soulful eyes. We're just going to continue looking at her now, and we're actually going to leave this particular scene and we're going to move along. And as we look at her eyes, we're going to say goodbye. We're going to leave her there in this particular time, place, and location. She's perfectly fine and safe, and we're going to go on our separate way on our own journey now. We're going to say goodbye to Blue and allow Blue and all of these other people to continue on their own journey. And we're going to move along now to the next most significant scene that your higher self wants to show you. So moving along and leaving everybody to continue on their own journey in love and harmony. You have arrived now at the next most significant scene that your higher self wants to show you. Describe to me what you see.
I'm at another temple, but it's in a dark sky. It's no discernible ground beneath it, like it's just there on its own. It's stone place. Very similar.
Okay. Is this a different temple?
It is, yes. Different but similar.
Okay. And
Yeah,
describe to me.
They are connected somehow. There are some steps, but not as many.
Okay. Do you want to walk up those steps?
Yes, I'll walk up the steps.
Okay. And when you get to the top of those steps, describe to me what you see when you look around from the very top of those steps.
The place doesn't seem to make much sense. There appears to be small starships nearby, coming and going.
Okay.
The structure, the design of the structure is unusual. Steps will go up and then go down and then zigzag somewhat between these buildings. Not quite pyramids, but so they have that angled shape and then a flattened at the top.
Are these buildings still intact or are they broken down looking?
Yes, they're intact. They're still in use a little bit.
And how are these starships connected to these buildings? Did they create them or do they just use them?
They use them. They land or dock at certain points and then go and they exit and go inside.
So these buildings existed before these starships came here? Or
yes, they're disconnected from what they once were.
okay. So what did these buildings once do? What was their purpose?
They once housed a culture that were disconnected and removed, relocated for ease of access by the Rigelians.
Okay. Can you tell me the starships? Describe to me what they look like.
Look very simple.
Are you able to tell what planet, where did they come from?
So they were beings in the Rigelians after the takeover.
Okay.
Ships are kind of not the typical cigar shaped or UFO shaped. They're segmented almost. There's a section in the middle with that's polyhedral section in the middle.
Would you consider these starships and the beings within them to be hostile?
Yes, they shouldn't be there.
Okay. So they've come in from another universe.
Yes, it's the Orion Wars now.
Do they have a name? Are you able to feel that they have a name that they go by?
Regalians. They were genetically engineered reptilians, specifically for this planet.
Okay.
Star region.
So as you're looking at them, are they aware of your presence in this temple?
No.
Okay. So you're safe. Are you visible or invisible? How do you keep safe?
I'm safe in the pyramid. They just don't see me.
Perfect.
It's just Danny in the pyramid.
Okay. So Danny, it's safe for you now to walk around that temple, and maybe if you want to enter into one of the rooms where these beings are going to, it's safe for you to follow them and tell me, perhaps describe to me what it is that they're doing inside in these temples.
There are sarcophagi in them. These bed-like devices have put beings in the study, manipulate.
Is that human beings, do you think?
All kinds, particularly those who fought in the Orion Wars.
Do you recognize any of these beings that they're experimenting on?
Lyrans.
Okay.
Ones
So have they, I'm sorry.
And then ones that were there before being manipulated.
Are they using the energy within this temple? Do they use that energy? Do they know how to use that energy for their manipulations?
Yes, they use them like a husk. It makes it easier to keep the beings inside.
As you're looking around there, can you look now at one of those particular manipulations within that husk? Are you able to look more closely and describe to me what it is that you see? What are they doing to that being?
I'm having some interference.
Okay. Negative interference?
Yes.
Okay.
Preconception, interference. Danny's seen this before.
Okay, we're just going to call in Archangel Metatron now, Archangel Michael, also Archangel Hilal, Archangel 4. I'm calling you forward now to help us with this interference, just to help us clear away this interference now from Danny. Clearly they don't want this information to come out, to be spoken of. Archangel 4 now, just helping us here. The centaur energy, I feel you quite strongly with Danny. Asking, Divine Father to bring in your energy to help clear away any negative interference now. And reinforcing the beautiful golden love light energy around Danny's pyramid. Making sure that he's invisible. Calling upon the invisibility cloak now, if that is required. Let's bring that in, place it around Danny. Okay. It's okay for you to proceed now. Tell me what you're experiencing and feeling now.
Corrupting the original form of these beings. Corrupting them. Turning them into husks against one another.
Okay.
An infiltration technique.
And where is your troll self now, this troll being that you have seen yourself as? Where are you exactly?
I'm just Danny now.
Okay.
Me as I am observing.
Okay, so you don't see the troll being anymore?
No, but I can call him back.
Does he want to be there?
He's curious. He's curious. He can be there. He's impartial.
Okay.
He's holding space for me.
Okay. So do you recognize any of these beings now they're being manipulated on? Is there anybody, any being there that you recognize?
Yes, I was one of them.
You're one of them. Okay. So that they managed to catch you somehow?
Yes.
Okay.
This was my Lyran experience.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I went to war and got caught up in distraction of it all.
Okay.
It used me to fuel it.
So what happened? So you went to war, you were a Lyran, and how did you end up in this place where you are now?
It was a space battle. my ship was engulfed. Next thing I knew, I was in one of these husk chambers.
Okay. Are you able to find yourself now within this particular room, within this particular temple? Are you able to see which container, this husk container that you were in? Can you find yourself?
It's in another temple. I can feel for it. I'm there now.
Okay.
Yeah. Standing up rather than lying down in a tubular chamber. It's floating in there.
Is your consciousness still with you in that chamber?
Yes, they're very dormant.
Okay. So the consciousness is still within your the body self. It's not been removed or separate.
Yes, it's been infiltrated, distracted. It's thinks it's there, but it's not.
Okay.
There's an illusion where they make him think he's escaped, and he's free, but the simulation.
Okay. Wow.
And he tried clearing this before. He's seen this before.
So Danny has seen this.
From the perspective of inside the tube.
Okay.
Now he's seeing it from outside.
Did he ever manage to, was he ever freed? Did he manage to ever get out of that tube? Or was he forever trapped? Is he still there in that tube?
Yes, he's still there.
How long would you say is it possible to quantify? Because it would seem that then in that timeline, he's still present in that tube now in this timeline, years later. Is that true, would you say?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a fragment of what was once here. He's expressed a fragment from this perspective.
Okay. Okay. It is at this point I feel that we're going to move on to connecting with the higher self, to bring in some deeper answers, questions, to answer some questions, and to bring in some healing as well. So we're going to move along now. We're going to leave that life. And all of the energy and the trauma and the pain is going to stay there for the moment. And Danny is still safe and contained. And you can leave that particular scene, leave that particular life.